Morning all, welcome to another Kingscrusher Chess 24 Banter Blitz. Okay, so it's 11:30 AM UK time here, 19th of November 2017. Let's look at the challenges. Remember, you have to be a premium member to challenge. I had to decline a couple from non-premium, just mute that over there. So it's well worth it to become a premium member. Okay, so Fenneman, hi there. Morning. Starting off with Sicilian here. This blunts that bishop. This is quite a common move actually, bishop c4, that is played this setup at certain levels. It's very popular. I'm thinking to play b5. Well, I was thinking to play b5, but he's read my mind now. I'll still play for b5, b4. It seems a natural idea to me to play for b4 to try and encourage c4 and weaken these dark squares a little bit. If I can play b4, try and tap c4, try and emphasize this to dark square play here. Also, of course, the bishop's got a nice parking space on b7 here. Okay, I think I'll play bishop b7 for a moment. And just this little move, it seems logical to connect the rooks as an option. Okay, I'll take with the knight because I don't want to lose my control on the d4 square with this pawn, which is a central pawn. I don't want to decentralize my pawns. d5 here looks like an idea to try and break up this diagonal to go for the king. I remember I annotated one of the early Fischer against Towel games on the Kingscrusher channel. I remember this theme, but really it's not just about central control, it's about getting to the king when you try and open up this bishop. So here d5, but yeah, I am unleashing that bishop on f7. There's no damage at the moment because g6 is covered by this pawn. So I think even though I'm creating a pin pawn, it's not so much of a liability here. Although I had a bullet game just on Friday against an IM and he missed knight g6. With this bishop, it's very easy to pin that pawn. But anyway, here, so actually it wasn't even a bullet game. It was like 30 seconds each. Anyway, so d4, d4. Okay, I'm not too concerned about g6 or the pin pawn. I am concerned about that. I'll play this, bishop d6. It might be worth taking on 80, but leaving that tension gives always the other possibilities for a moment, which might become more valuable at any moment. So whilst knight takes a2 might give some comforting, warm feeling here, by keeping the knight and keeping the tension, so to speak, actually you're keeping a group of possibilities, not releasing them yet, because there might be a moment where one of these other possibilities becomes more effective than the primary possibility. So the idea of keeping the tension, I think, is, you might have heard that a lot, keeping the tension. So yeah, I'm keeping that tension there. So let's see, knight d5 now looks like an idea. And it gives me the possibility actually of f6, but bishop g3 safeguards that bishop. Okay, now I'm wondering to take with the knight or the bishop. I think if I take with the bishop, I am threatening then f6, and it does point to the king, and the knight's still on these other squares. So I think I will take with the bishop. It also unleashes the rook, potentially. So I'm thinking I'm threatening f6 now, and I just glanced at a comment that I might miss something. Okay, we'll talk about that there. No, when I glance over there, it's my monitor over there, so the chat is but anyway, let's see. Okay, so f6 is not doing anything at the moment. Or is it? If knight g4, h5 would seem to win the knight. So if knight c4, then that's no big deal. So at the moment, it doesn't seem a huge deal, my position. What about f5? F4, he takes. It's not a big deal either. Okay. So I'm wondering now how to proceed. d3 might be vulnerable at some point. Knight c4 seems a convenience for my opponent. Yeah. I don't want to spend too long on this. Okay, I'm gonna play a move which just adds a bit more pressure to e5 for a moment. That does seem to run into f6. That seems unfortunate, because otherwise I might have had a good game there. If this is really losing a piece for a pawn, it doesn't seem to be that much compensation here. Now my rook is eyed. I can also play g6 just to break that pressure. But there's knight g6, hg, queen g6, queen g7. But then queen takes and bishop takes d6. So I think I will snap off this knight for a moment. I'm not worrying about the gaze of the queen. Knight g5 might be a concern, maybe h6. I'm also threatening knight takes d3 now, because that knight was holding d3 together. Okay, so I think h6. Queen g6 I think I would take. So the threat queen takes h7. It's good to identify the threat on each move, of course, but whether you have to parry the threat, sometimes you can create a bigger threat. Sometimes it's something you would welcome because it maybe damages the opponent's position in some other way. But at least identifying the threat is the crucial common denominator on a move-to-move basis. And when I'm looking at master games to video annotate on YouTube, I've got chess space, and you just press X to see the threat, and it gives a greater understanding quite often of many of the moves, quite a high percentage actually, of even GM games. Just the threats on an individual move to move. Sometimes they can be quite subtle, so it does help understand even master games the show the threat feature. Let's see, queen g6. Knight f6 is probably a threat, actually, talking of threats. It's actually quite a nasty one. So I think I'm going to snap off this knight. That's one way of extinguishing the threat here. Yeah. That would have been funny if I missed the threat after talking about threats. But yeah, it would have been hilarious. Now here, actually, there's queen takes d6. All right, let's not lose on time. I think I need to... If I get my pieces protected, there should be less of the opponent's threats. If I play queen f7 without dropping the bishop, so having my pieces protected is a natural way sometimes of getting rid of threats. If I just welcome the exchanges here, that gets rid of threats as well. But not having loose pieces gets rid of potential threats, adds security to the position. So Nimzowitsch was all about the security of the position. So if you were Nimzowicz'd, I don't think you'd be in any position to make any threats, because your pieces generally be paralyzed if he'd got his way with his evil my system. So if your pieces are paralyzed, you're hardly in a position to create any threats. So the idea of not having loose pieces and positional security is a way of making sure you don't have to worry too much about threats. Okay, thanks, Fenneman. So Kaz, let's see, Kaz. Yeah, I'm playing this knight c6. I'm going to gambit here. Oh, should look at what I'm doing. It's a weird gambit I've been playing. Now this quite often weakens basically h2 when I've played this a lot. And also it's letting me overprotect e4. This overprotection of e4 is an interesting idea, especially as white e5 or was black e4. It's a great overprotection point. This is back to Nimzowitsch again. If you can strengthen a grip on a central square like e4 as black or e5 as white, it means your pieces are naturally centralizing. And then it's also meaning that f3, the freeing move, is harder and harder to achieve. If I doubled rooks, I'd probably be restricting the freeing move, f3. So this is mass overprotection. So it means the freeing moves are getting less, the threats are getting less. And it's a good basis for an attack. Here I'm not even sure about this. To play b5 is to encourage a4 later. So the knight's in the way of the a file here. So I'm wondering if b5 is just creating a target, appealing open target. With the overprotection now, the position seems harmonious. I think I'm justified more to start a kingside attack. c6 could be an issue, but not yet. Probably an issue now. I can play rook e6. They might run into d5. Now, when I wait for the rooks there, maybe b5, because it will take a long time for a4. Before it was natural for a4, but then it would be even more time. So let's see how this king attack is happening. I'll wait for the doubling of rooks, then play b5, knowing that it takes quite a few more moves to peel open the a file. Alternatively, I can leave that knight there, actually. Bishop d7, but it just runs into d5 potentially. I haven't blockaded d5, but it does open up my bishop d5. It's not all one-sided d5. D6 would seem annoying, actually, for a passed pawn in the center. So I think I'm going to take this. I can shuffle for an attack here with bishop f6, king g7, rook h8 for queen h2, but what does it do after? Don't want to lose on time either, particularly. Let's see. Queen h2 I can imagine is not effective here. Even if I had a rook behind the queen, it's not that effective. f5, f4 to open with g takes opens up this diagonal. Yeah. Let's just play this for a moment. I'm wondering about these bishops. They look good, actually. Complementary bishops, coming to think about it. F5 does lock in his bishop a bit. It frees my pieces a bit more because if the pawn's protecting e4. What can I do with the pieces, though? That's interesting. I like the bishop now. Maybe I can just... Okay, let's give myself more options. Let's centralize this to give myself rook h7. Queen h6, queen h2, king f1, bishop g3, fg, queen g3. I can imagine this scenario being dangerous. It could be made more effective with a rook on f8. Because you can imagine if there's a bishop sacrifice on d3, I take out these two pawns. But if you consider f4 after, I think that's pretty destructive. Knight d5 here is interesting, right? At the moment I'm protecting c7 with bishop and rook. So I think I want this position with rook f8, queen h5, queen h2, bishop g3. Imagine queen g3 after fg, there's f4. And we can further imagine ef, rook f4, king e1. The attack seems to be sort of dangerous levels. It'd be nice to have this diagonal as well for the attack. if the bishop was on c4 one day, if the queen ever left that diagonal, that would stop the king escaping to f1. That could be arranged with queen f7, bishop c4 actually. If I occupied the escape route, then the queen could bounce back to h5, then queen h2 would be simply a mate threat. So that's pretty sneaky. Queen f7, bishop c4, take the escape square, come back to make queen h2 much more effective. So that would be an alternative plan. Difficult to achieve now as c4 is covered. Let's come into f4. Difficult to achieve. So back to the other plan. Well, it doesn't seem that convincing. Let's go back here for a moment. Do I need this bishop? I think it could be handy. What about if I just double rooks for a moment? Mind you, there's always knight e6 and rook d7. Right, that was my kind of worst bishop. Oh. Alright, I think I'll take and rook d8 here. It's awkward to protect the pawn, I thought. Yeah, because of the bishop. Alright, my attack didn't happen, but well played. Or this stone. What did you do against French defense again? I've forgotten. Alright, I'll make use of the Achilles heel he's provided for this setup, but I think he's probably comfortable with this. That kind of is an Achilles heel in the structure. Maybe h5 to encourage h4, which means f4 is less desirable because g4 is more weakened. I can play on the queen side here. I don't need to rush to castle. There'll be bishop h6 weakening my dark squares. But with the knight on d4, this affords to make the b5 plan slightly more effective, I believe. I'm not sure he'll be taking on d4. It'd be nice to open up that rook to gaze at b2 here. There's some coordination of the bishop and the rook. There's also some tactical possibilities. Forcing moves need to be considered. I think this, it does expose that knight there, but then I can play knight c6. So I'm thinking this is okay to play knight c6. I'm reinforcing that d4 with this, but also that rook is now active. This is more passive than that rook. On the other hand, knight c6 it means d5 is going to be much more difficult. Now if he plays bishop h6, he is kind of weakening his dark squares a bit more. Okay, f5, e5, and then he threatens the knight. So what about d6 for a moment? Not sure of the value necessarily of me playing f5 and weakening g5 even more. h4, g4, I'm not sure of that either. What I do like about the position is this lockdown on this d4 knight. Can I play bishop b7? That seems sensible to try and connect the rooks. Maybe some prophylaxis against f5 with rook e8. That's to say sort of, I'm going to use the e file. So rook e8 kind of prophylaxis. Alright. I think taking on the knight is appealing, but taking on the bishop is also... I'll take with the knight, it seems fairly appealing. E5, I'm wondering if it goes into F5. If you ever took, he'd give me a sort of protected pawn, but how dangerous is F5? Is that King H7 for Bishop H6? I think that's the case, actually. So I'm going to go for this with the idea of King H7, Bishop H6. On the other hand, he has potentially Rook F7 once he moves that bishop out of the way. Yeah, this occurs to me as stronger than usual because of that pawn there controlling E3. So King H7 for Bishop H6 would also mean H4 is an incoming threat. Let's try and weaken that pawn chain there. So King H7, Bishop H6. I've got to be concerned about Rook F7. I can play this now. There's no G5. Then maybe Bishop F4. There's Bishop G3. If I want to rule out Bishop G3... No, I was wondering at H4. Is it worth ruling out? I'm not sure he'd want to do that. He might want to do that. He does want to do that. And take an H4 and then G5. He's got F6. And Bishop E3, he's got G takes. G5 might be interesting. If he takes on H5, I think I'm stopping his F file and getting the E5 square. But I'm weakening D4. He's weakening his dark squares. I have Queen H4 with greater effect because of Queen G3 later, if you ever took. This double pawns doesn't seem too healthy. I'm quick for the G file there. So it takes, yeah, I'm quick for the G file. Let's do this in preparation of the G file. So I'm wondering Queen F6, Rook G7. G4 here immediately threatens Queen H4. HG Queen H4 is winning a piece. Bishop G4, pardon me, is opening up my pieces. Queen H4 before he has time to block everything. So I do wonder about if I leave Bishop G4, I think his E4 is going to be weaker. You know, I'm going to switch plan here. Well, I thought this would be okay. I've blunted his F file. He's going to weaken E4 potentially. Well, I think here there's Rook G3. Looks like a strong attack. Or am I just losing a pawn? I might be regretting this. Am I just losing a pawn? I'm hoping there's some compensation here. Oh, Rook's inside the position. Actually, I'm going to win E4. There's D3, potentially. Where do I need this rook? I don't know about this rook. Actually, I'm on his rook at the moment. F3 seemed a threat for Bishop E2. I'll go with that. Rook E2 threatens. Also, Queen H6 to F4 looks good. Okay, let's go with this to protect that. Two connected pass pawns should be unbearable. And there's queen f4 threatens. Queen g3, there's f2 forking the rooks. If rook e3 takes, check. So queen f4 threatens. If king h1, rook e2. This looks like too much. The queen's pinned, so I can just take that actually. There's no mate on g7 here, it seems. And take here first. Thanks. What is that? Okay. Johan, hi. Let's play e3. Let's see how the improvisation goes on e3, because I don't know if I'm crazy original, but it seems to be a move which has given me personally results. So I once wrote this, when I was doing my degree, there was once this essay about if it works, it's okay, and maybe that applies to chess. Is it okay if it works? Or rather, it was the difference between no, if it works is okay, I think was another essay title. Sometimes, if things work, they work, but do you need to understand, do they need to follow like general standards? E3 seems to be like the French defence in reverse at minimum to me. And if you consider the English opening has been increasing in popularity in recent years, that's like, it didn't used to be a great popular move, but now it's all the rage. And that's like a Sicilian in reverse. I guess you can argue 1e3 is passive. Okay, now here, yeah, it does seem a bit passive. I think I'm going to take. If he ever takes, then he opens up my bishop. If he doesn't, I'm considering d takes. So I'm hoping this bishop's going to be activated. That seems to be an interesting pawn, winning of a pawn there. And it relieves, the key thing for me, I think it relieves that central concern. I don't like Grunfelds that much, where you have to nanny the pawn centre. So he'll take some time to get that pawn back. It could be with advantage though for him, or at least equal. I'm wondering about, I can either try and be annoying to hold on to the pawn, or just let it go with e4. E4, he comes with a vengeance on that. Knight e4 is interesting to try and encourage. No, there's no f5. Yeah, let's play. I don't know, I'm tempted. Knight e4. This is crazy or what? There's no f5 because that pawn's pinned. Sometimes you can hang on to pawns to try and increase influence on a certain colour of square, colour complex. So I'm hoping to at least get some dart square play, even if I lose the pawn back, to try and increase dart square grip. Let's see. I would have to get my rook out of the way for b4. So rook b1, b4. This might be actually was kind of threat, consolidation threat of this pawn. He's neglected f7 with that move, so you can imagine b4, a3, bishop coming back to f7. Bishop f5 is an incoming. I think I'll be ready with e4 if I just took here. So bishop f5 is e4. Can I play b4? Now a3 would give me the opportunity of bishop b3. Or I can just play e4 for a moment. Okay, I might take here to increase dart square play and avoid the knight d4 business, which is unpleasant. Now he could take on f3. Right, if I play bishop e3 here, would he double the pawns? I seem to have a real extra pawn emerging. Is that b5 or is that okay? It's tempting now, I think, to push this a bit further. Or is it a push too far? There might be bishop f4 after. Oh, well, the way he's played it, I thought he'd take first, because then he'd be threatening that pawn. Now, he has no rook c6. If he had took it first, I was more concerned, because then he could double. For a moment there, I thought maybe c6 was really premature. But here, that's very good, isn't it? Rook c8, c takes, check. Oh, there's rook c8 after that. Okay. So I have to be careful with these tactics. So the pawn is a concern. I was just giving the exchange. Well, c takes b8, king g7. If I just hold on to the pawn for a moment. Now bishop e5 is probably a concern. f4, there's a perpetual check. Queen c5 stops bishop e5, but allows queen f3. I think queen d2, bishop e5, there's f4, queen f3, there's queen e3, queen g4, there's queen g3. So I stop the perpetual checks with this pawn sack, and hopefully f4 is playable. No, I don't stop the perpetual checks. He's got perpetual. Okay. If he wants, I can play bishop e4, bishop f4. I think he takes the perpetual. No, I thought that was okay. It's probably. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that was tricky then. I think I slipped up there. Or maybe there was enough compensation. If we have a quick look at this position, it's dangerous after the double pawns actually. So maybe I've already slipped up here. Let's have a quick look at that. Oh, white is much better. So the move was queen h3. I needed a very accurate move. I was looking at queen c5. It seems this one, yeah, does afford f4 here. Yeah, that's a clever one to bear in mind. Queen b3. I was quickly looking at this. And so this is stopping bishop e5. And if here... Okay, just as long as bishop e5 is stopped. I don't think it matters about the pawn. Then, so that was my idea in this line when I played queen d2 to sack. But of course, I don't rule out bishop e5 there. So if you're taken here, then that's the same. Oh, it's even better actually. Queen d8 and then taking here. It stops perpetual with queen g3. Okay, thanks for the game. Yeah, I needed an accurate move. Sometimes you really need an accurate move if there's threats. If there's potential, if there's a multitude of threats, you need an accurate move to tick all the boxes, which I didn't. I'll try knight c6. Right, let's close the position now. This is probably a bit passive. I want to exchange off this bishop because you've got all these pawns on dark squares. If I can exchange off this bishop, it's a typical French thing to have lots of suffering and be cramped. Okay, sorry. A5 bishop a6, and maybe knight f8. I know, it's delightful. A5 bishop a6. It's the prospect of the future, where there's a rosy future in mind. Okay. Anyway, bishop a6. Petrosian would be proud here. I've seen a lot of Petrosian examples where he's done this sort of thing. He got rid of this bishop. I'm weakening my light squares a little bit. Sometimes the bad bishop is adding solidity. If I took, I think my king wants to be on the other side of the board pretty soon, pretty pronto. I think knight f8 might be, for castling queenside, the fastest, except I've just lost f5, haven't I? Ah, well done. That was a slip up. Oh man. And my knight's hanging if I castle queenside. This might not be that pleasant. Okay. For some reason he's given me pawn back. I can take immediately that, because if I take here, there might be this. I mean, I'll try and take that the pawn immediately. I'm thinking e6 and knight e6. I'll be delighted with bishop g5 and knight e6. No, I still lose f5. Maybe not that delighted. Okay. Now he's off a6. I can castle. So there's knight f7. Alright, I take on g5 then castle. I assume this might be plausible, but there's knight d5 here tactically for looking at this rook. Okay, I can't do everything at once here, so okay, this manages to solve for a moment the d5 issue. Okay, I can play for a blockade now with knight e6, unless he's got c4, queen a8, there's knight b8. Knight e6 is a nice blockade, surely. I'm on f4 immediately. King b8 would be nice to stop any c4 stuff. Right, c5 would be interesting to put pressure on d4, and also knight c7 then to reroute this knight. Okay, let's try and reroute this knight via c7. Rook c8 would give rook c7. He says rook g6 though after. So when he trebles, maybe knight f8. So in the meantime, this for b5, knight f8, knight c7, b5. Maybe the other one comes to e6. Okay, so let's picture this. Knight f8, knight e6, king a7 away from knight squares, b5, queen b6, rook b8, that sort of thing. If my rooks are involved in b-file activities, the knight here can handle f-file. There's no rook g6, that's the key thing here. So let's imagine knight e6, try and blockade. Nimzovich will be proud, I think. King a7, rook b8, b5, b4. Is knight f5 a problem? It might be. I'll worry about that in a moment when he plays it. Okay. Hinting at b-file activity, but also rook b7 could be handy. Yeah, he's hinting at my king. Let's move the king away from x-rays. Thanks very much. I can play for b5. It seems he can build up on d5. There's rook d8 for a moment. Not via b6. There's no way of protecting b5. Okay, this rook is not needed, or rather is needed on the b file. Need that for d5. Need this to switch to the b file to b7. So you can imagine rook g7, queen c6, rook b7. There's no knight b4 just yet, so rook b7, b4 plan. Okay. b4's not on the cards at the moment. He's not on d5. Knight f4 is a pawn hanging. Why don't I just take that? Hits the queen. Alright, I play for b4 as an exchange act with rook b8, b4 if opportunity is happening. It seems to be. b4 with idea of exchange sack. I think that opens up the pieces. Is it an overkill? Doubt it. There's a lot of pressure here. I can coordinate pressure on b2, d4, play for c3, or I can play queen a4. Queen b5 holds d5. Okay, maybe also I'll provide knight g5 as entertainment. C3 is not quite there yet. Can this knight do anything? Keep the tension. Knight can come to b3. Rook can go to a4, then a2, maybe a1. Where's that king going? And go to queen f5 here. Whoa. Oh, there was e6. Okay, there's a lot of manoeuvring there, but if you look at Petrosian games in the French, he gets rid of the bishop, and often is casting queen and launches an attack later. Yeah, there's a lot of Petrosian stuff there in the French. Okay, who's a kind of Nimzovich fan as well. The commutator, thanks. I think there's a a lot of players. Why am I playing f3? This tempts me for some reason in this position to play f3. there's a sort of set of players that are really into prophylaxis that I have this weird, I don't know, feeling when I go over their games. Well, Petrosian is definitely one of them. It's a different feeling to other players, that you could feel his risk averseness when he's playing like seemingly grovelly French defence positions, gets with light square bishops. He's just not indulging in tactical gambling. He's just having these very solid, supersonic closed positions with manoeuvring and prophylaxis, and so the probability of losing is drastically reduced. So maybe you could say he's like Nimzovic, follower, chosen Nimzovician. So let's see. A4, knight d2 to f2 to h3 to g5. This g5, if f6 is knight e6. So if there's a knight on g5, it's better than on c3. This knight on g5, if you ever took, there's frontal pressure on h5. If I ever took with h pawn, g5 seems to be an Achilles heel because of this h5. So I'll go on that tour. f2, h3, g5. I'll stop knight c4 for a moment. Okay. So that's the plan I have in mind, knight g5 plan. I don't think a4 is very attractive here. You can take and maybe take. Not at the moment, anyway. Oh, the knight was hanging. I'll just let him off. I've just realised the knight. Small technical detail. Yeah, I wasn't watching. I was more concerned with this grandiose plan over here. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Game on. Sorry, I don't know, a bit giggly today, yeah. Okay. It's a technicality. Who wants to win on some technicality? Most people probably. What is this? He's giving up the knight anyway, quite explicitly. Even I've noticed the knight's hanging now. Okay. What's the meaning of this? Is it c3? I mean, I'm wondering. This is a mystery. Okay, f6. F6 might be the threat. Yes, okay, I get it. Oh, I think I get it now. So to parry f6, I think I'll play f4. Yeah, f4. I did say about h2, but here with that rook there, I think it's encouraging h4. So I'm going to take with the f pawn and activate this guy. There's bishop h3 taking this diagonal, probably winning the exchange. And there's queen c6, which is eyeing my squares a bit too much. So in the circumstance, I'm wondering about knight g1 then. Queen g4, bishop f3, queen g4. How much of a concern is queen g4 here? Well, Well, it's not immediately mating, so I'm going to play knight g1. I don't believe it's immediately mating or anything, so knight g1 for a moment. Then I want to get this bishop out of the firing line. I've got to credit the commutator. This knight sack does have some venom to it. Does have venom to it, yeah. I'm going to play rook d1 though now. If I can consolidate this somehow. Rook d1. I don't mind the exchange of light square bishops. As long as there isn't a queen and bishop battery on my king, which is terminal, that's fine. Exchanging off the light square bishops is not mating my king, so that's good. I'm thinking bishop h3 again now. Oh. This is a bit grovelly, isn't it? Okay. The other thought, a3 for rook d3 for doubling rooks seems sensible without knight b4. So rook d3 without knight b4. Pawn is a pawn could be munched. Okay. Do I want to take that? Maybe I do. Maybe I should. I think I will. En passant. Isn't there bishop d5? Bishop d5. This is rook f6 just winning a piece, isn't it? The queen is clinging on to everything. The queen is overloaded here. I didn't immediately see this overloading when I played g takes, to be honest. Alright, I think I can take with check. Thanks, commentator. Okay, Azul missed. Inviting Roy Paz, whatever. Joe Campiano. Joe Campiano. D5 seems a long way away at the moment because of E5. However, not so long here. I will play D5 here. Not so far away. If I play rook d8, I'll be threatening bishop c4. He needs to connect rooks at some point, maybe, to avoid that sort of mischief. So rook d8 threatens bishop c4. D3 seems a target. So D3 is a little bit of a target. Can I play rook D8? Rook D8? If the knight goes back to a7, doesn't matter, does it? Go back to c6 after. So d3 remains a target. I didn't want to sort of help the opponent with bishop e3, rook e3, helping d3. So we're back, holding e5 now. Knight f5 is a concern. I'm thinking there's weaknesses here. There's a slightly loose pawn here, not protected by fellow pawns. So actually a move like queen b3. I think taking is good for white to reinforce f5 as an outpost square if I took. Obviously I don't think double pawns is the greatest idea here. So what about knight h7? Oh, knight stumbling back. And if queen d7, there's queen g4. And if king h8, queen g4. This is dangerous for queen g4. If queen e6, queen g4, queen g6. The double pawns are not pleasant. King h8, queen g4. Rook g8. How bad is that? I think it will give me time to play queen d7 later. So I'll do that. Queen g4, rook g8. Queen d7. I don't think there's knight h6 because my rook's protecting the queen. So in other words, I might be playing for g6. So let's avoid getting mated. If I play for g6, knight h6, queen g4, knight g4, there's f5, forking the knights. So I'll go with this, pinning that, kind of pinning that knight. Not really pinning, well, sort of pinning the knight. But the idea is really g6, knight h6, queen g4. There's no knight f7 check, is there? No king g7. This still runs into f5, f4, g6 takes f5. There's knight e5 though. Rook e8 runs into knight h6. Alright, so queen e6 then. Yes, something happened to the disconnect, sorry. It's usually me, I don't know, internet is not stable, is it? Always. G6, queen g4, f5. It seems plausible. Yeah, I'm sorry about my opponent's disconnections, that's irritating, isn't it? There is knight f6 to pick up a rook at least. Well, there's rook h3, there's rook d7, or rook g7. Okay, I'll pick up two pieces here. For the rook. Yeah, it just occurred to me to play b5 to get this a file, potentially. Right, the knight's holding the entry point, so Knight d5 looks good, or b4 maybe. b4. Alright. If I played this to try and tie down the rooks and blockade on f5, which gives me c5 knight d4. Rook f3 is knight h4. b3 seems handy to make sure this pawn's dangerous. But basically c5 knight d4 seems very comfortable. Well, I thought it was. Maybe knight d4 coming up. Knight d4 is... well, there's a mating knight here. Rook h8. Okay, I'll hit f4 again. Yeah, disconnects don't help. Sorry, mate. Internet's a pain, isn't it? Sometimes. Alright, well played anyway. Thanks. Pokemoka. It was a good plan in general, the knight on f5 plan. It's any attacking construction often has tactical liabilities, loose pieces potentially, or the attacking pieces can basically often be munched. So that was pretty naughty of me, this tactic, g6, to try and just win material. But it was a great way of defending the attack as well, I thought. Sometimes that's the only way you can defend an attack. You just try and take out those attacking pieces tactically. This is kind of halfway to the hippopotamus defense. I think it needs a6 and h6 as well, and then it's the dreaded hippopotamus, which has been used in I think Spassky against Petrosian World Championship match once or twice. So one of the key things, if you play d5 there's often e5, and if you play e5 there's often d5. So you've got to be careful with the pawn breaks against the hippo, because the hippo, like the real life hippo, is quite agile to sort of emerge from its swamp. But here this looks an overkill of weaknesses, overprovocation. For me, it makes f5 and bishop h6 more effective here, this h5. So I'm going to go with that plan. A lot of the iconic games in chess are revolving around when there's weaknesses that are exacerbated. When you lose a fianchettoed bishop, or it's exchanged off, those resulting weaknesses, there's been some brilliant masterpieces based on that. Even there's Metanol's positional queen sack is basically like that, because when he took on a bishop, he left weaknesses on dark squares, and two pieces against the queen were almost equality after that. So here with h5 though, if I'm committed to e5, then f5 is going to be a pawn sack. That's interesting now, very interesting. e5, I give the blockade f5. Let's see here. Do I play it anyway? It's a bit of a concession, but it does lock in the bishop. Okay, I have to switch plan again, it seems. He's crushed my f5 idea for a moment. It's off limits now, f5. Let's go with alternative c3. I'm not convinced he could take and then a5 for bishop a6, which he's probably going to do now. If I just play g4, hg, rook g1, there's no f5 because of knight e6. g4 is a bit radical. There's queen c4, that could be a nuisance for that diagonal. I could simply prepare g4, have my queen around there ready for g4 later under safer circumstances. Oh, he can fork my queen in a2 here. With queen c4. Okay, let's get this off the firing line. Trying to reduce the impact of queen c4. At the moment f6 is off the charts because of knight e6. g4 might be back on the charts because hg rook g1 with idea. Okay, I thought knight e6 here. I could just go for the bishop instead of the rook, because actually then bishop d4 is a nice central bishop, blockading this bishop and providing king attacking opportunities, and it's a nice central bishop. And actually taking off the bishop is attractive. Rather than the rook. Didn't see that move. I can take here the knight. Yeah, I think I will. There's the tactics here. Takes. Take. Check. Rook f7. If I play knight d4, there's fe. So is he tactically justifying everything? Knight g7, d takes, queen e3, king g7, rook d7, rook f7. Maybe the lesser evil was knight d4. Let's activate these pieces. I'll go with positional pawn sack, bishop d4, try and weaken the dark squares. Although there's f3, hang on. Now I'm getting in trouble, there's f3. I'm going to get killed at this rate. Queen g3, queen b2, okay. This is nasty. I don't know how I've gotten to this nasty state. Okay. I don't know, that was incredible. I don't know. That was incredible stuff. There's takes an f3, I don't really know. This knight f4 is g5. Oh, I guess. Oh no, I don't guess anything. Okay. That's strange. Can I take and then fe for queen f7 now? It's justified my battery. This battery wasn't doing anything. There's rook f8. There's rook f8. Yes, this gets nasty. This gets nasty. Rook f8. What am I doing after rook f8? Oh crikey. Oh crikey. I don't know. Rook f8 seems strong. He's letting me off the hook here, surely. takes e6, king moves, bishop g7 takes e7, king f7. How is this ending? Is it terrible? It probably is. Let's see. There's knight f4 and king e6. Okay. Then maybe there's e6. e6 takes e7, bishop c6. Nope. Okay, I'm going to lose on time here as well. Great. Well played. Oh, that was brilliant. I gotta see this. There's something brilliant about this, which let me just see this situation where f6, f6. Oh, what a move! Is this at move 21? f6 doesn't mention knight e6. d4 I have to take, because otherwise I'm just a piece down. Yeah, because this is just a piece down after rook f7. So it's equal. Well, I thought better for black. I always thought better for black. Well, the way I played it, ef4, I thought this was crushing because of bishop d4, there's f3, crushing, because of the bishop and the queen, the bishop and the rook. And if knight f4, I thought g5, yeah. So basically, I thought this was crushing, ef. So apparently I have to do something else. Knight f3, much safer. It blockades against f3, doesn't it? So it's the same idea of that positional pawn sack to weaken king. That would have been... Wow. Okay. Interesting. Thanks. Alright, so this is a tough cookie here. So it's a 3-minute game. I'll play for rook b1, a3, b4. I'm playing bc to activate the rook, I think. Or f4, maybe f4. Do I need to keep this tension? Maybe I do. Maybe I can welcome knight d4. Right, f5 here, I'm weakening squares. e5 might be better bet for f5 after. Maybe I should have taken on d4. I think taking on d4 would have been. I can still do that here. Maybe bc first. And there's rook b7 if bc. And there's knight here with tempo. Bishop d4 for c5. Bc rook b7. Hang on, isn't that fg here? Do I take on knight first? I'll take this knight first. And queen g6, queen d3, there's knight f6 winning the queen. If I take that, it seems dangerous g-file. Okay, free this queen. Okay, can I get this queen out of here? It's annoying. Knight f5 seems a plan. There's rook e7 after. If queen h7, rook e7. Rook e7 immediately looks like a nice pin. So, right, looks like a nice pin. There's d3 after. There's knight f5 after that. Queen f5, queen g7. I'm threatening knight f5, which was parried. I'll go for knight f5 here. Is that not happening? Knight f4 for queen h5. There's knight g6 on queen e7. Alright, can I get behind this pawn? Points. Oh, there's bishop e5, isn't there? That's unfortunate. I was doing alright there for a moment. Okay, well played. Let's see, I think I was a little bit better. Let's have a quick look. Was it equal? Was this just equal? Hang on, knight f5 here. Let's see, knight f5 here. Okay, well, I thought it was a bit better than maybe it was. Well, knight f5 is possible here. No, it's about equal apparently. So I've actually blundered here, it seems. Yeah, d3 looks like a menace. This bishop's now lethal. Yeah, that's losing, absolutely. But it's a difficult position anyway because of bishop e5 now. Coming up. So tactically, as soon as I move that rook, there's bishop e5. Well played. Yeah, well played. What? Hi man, I'm just joining. Okay. Alright. MGTOW, hi there, MGTOW. Okay, so we've got a Benoni thing. H4 maybe is potential fun. h4, knight e2 coming up. Or knight h7, then h4, then knight e5. So this unpins, so if I can unpin and then play h4, h3, knight e5, it'd be a dangerous form pawn on h3. So I'm playing for now h3. If takes, then f3 is a bit weakened. So takes knight e5, then there's bishop g4, knight f3 as well. This looks dangerous anyway, this plan, knight e5, bishop g4. It's also with tempo on that bishop as well. There's bishop e2, bishop h3 maybe. Okay, let's see. Oh, I thought bishop e2 was necessary. Now there's bishop g4. Bishop e2 would have parried that. This gives rise to knight f3. Which looks pretty dangerous. Well, I could win this exchange. c4, there's bishop e3. I think taking the exchange off is lucrative. Probably bishop f3 might be handy. I'm wondering f5 for bishop c3 and bishop e4 now. Although I am weakening those dark squares, but this could be interesting. To greedy to win that sense, but I like having the bishop protecting the dark squares. Maybe this is a bit too greedy. Queen e3, maybe. All right. And there's g5 here. Whatever that does. Can I just, what if I doubled here? Queen e3 has bishop g2. If I double, it seems natural to double the rooks. Let's park the bishop on g2 for a moment. It is influencing e4, so double the rooks. It seems there's coordination going on. Takes, I don't want to give up 2 rooks for a queen. It's actually probably taking is a good idea. Do I have anything more? Oh, there's c4 check now. This means there's queen f2 for bishop f3 for queen g2 here. If white's not careful. Oh, alright, thanks for the game, Migtal. Yeah, it's got a bit dangerous. Plucky. Okay. Let's see. My coconut milk supplier has actually made it into coconut milk. It was actually coconut cream before. I think they've reduced the water percentage, and there's been complaints on Amazon about it. But I don't know, it's really confusing me. We only started changing this milk to coconut milk, it's called on the packaging, just a few weeks back, and our second batch, it actually turns into more liquid form. I don't know what to say. You can't really complain about it if it's called coconut milk. There are other products on the market called coconut cream, which is less water basically. But yeah, it's been my milk substitute. I think it has helped. Yeah, I think I have preferred it in the last few weeks. It's been an experiment. I know you get those sort of nut alternatives to milk. I don't think I haven't tried those, but my brother tells me they're not that great. But this definitely, we both have been enjoying this coconut milk as a milk substitute. So anyway, yeah, very important information, because coffee, of course, is crucial to the Blitz chess player. So this is a very important, very detailed finesse talking about coffee, basically. So very, very important. I don't know, how many, has any of you tried coconut milk or cream there? Anyone? You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so bishop e3, bishop d4. I think this might be the last game, guys, actually, of this session. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition. Actually, if you want to vote, 1 fun, 10 boring, that'd be cool. Let's see, b3. I'm going backwards here, aren't I? c4, and then bishop b2. Going backwards here to go forwards. Don't think bishop c3 is on. I'll get 2 pieces for that rook. I don't think it's that bad, as long as c4 is protected after. So the knight stumbles back, or moves back. There's c4 now. Probably there's b5. There's probably b5 here. b5 looks good idea. Alright, so bishop e3, maybe queen d2. I thought b5 was a great idea, yeah, but it's not now so much. So queen d2, not queen d2, rook d1. It's just to centralize for a moment, keeps options open, centralizing. I can think about bishop h6, but it's weakening my dark squares as well. It's kind of double-edged thing to do quite often. Maybe bishop f3. Now bishop f3 means b5 is back on the cards, actually. Do I want to play a4? Is that trade-offs here? I'm weakening b4. Overall, I'm not sure that's a big deal at the moment. So if I want to play bishop f3 without b5, okay, the knight can go to b4. That's for sure. Bishop d4, I lose the exchange, takes knight c2. I can avoid that with rook e2 in advance of bishop d4. If I want to exchange off bishops like that, there might be a value of it here to be determined. Go for it. Okay, so there's no knight c2 because of that rook e2 now. Knight h5 springs to mind. There's a nice forcing move here. If only a rook could swing to g3, that would be mating. Rook e3, there's always knight c2 though. There's always f6. It's not a big deal. Maybe knight f5 is a bigger deal because it threatens knight e7 mate. Can I arrange that? When knight f5 is dangerous, there's always e5. I can arrange it. Rook d2, rook e3, knight f5 takes. I'd have to get the bishop out of the way. Start arranging it. Rook e3, bishop back to d1 or something. Then there's bang, knight f5. Alright, keep the queen on the diagonal. Oh, knight a2 on queen c3. No, there's rook a2 there. Okay, I think tactically this seems plausible, queen c3. It runs into maybe d5 or b5. Queen b2 runs into queen takes e3. Okay. Okay, I'll go with this for bishop e2 and knight f5 here. So d5, I'm thinking bishop e2. There's no d4 or anything. dc, okay. Now I am threatening, finally, the moment has come. I might be threatening knight f5. Takes rook g3, king f8, queen h8. Knight h6 is also threatened. If e5... knight takes d6. So knight f5 actually looks plausible. No. So threatening queen g7. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week, and yeah, have a good rest of the day, and have a good week next week, and check out my music playlist as well. I'm constructing a playlist which might be what I'm interesting. If you check out Kingscrusher music playlist on YouTube. Okay. Alright, until next week then. Cheers then. Thanks very much.